What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Immortal Minds. This time, we got a special guest. We got Paula. What's up, Paula? How you doing?
What's up, Dan? What's up, Sean? What's up, everybody in the chat? Happy to be here. Looking forward to chat. Thank you for having me on.
Oh shit, Paul is introing. Sorry, I didn't know that it was just me and Paul, the Bromans, actually,
The
as we like to call
Bromans,
each
we're out
other.
here together, finally
We don't,
uniting live on camera,
yeah,
Sean. I'm
Bromans.
excited to show I know a lot more than you about my favorite hero, but apparently we need to chat about some other stuff too, Dan and Sean.
Like
Yeah.
me not getting the memo for tank tops. Apparently, you. I see how it is. Don't
Hey,
get an accent, you don't get a memo. Apparently, it's fine.
Yeah. It was
in
on
my,
purpose so that me and Dan had a chance of looking slightly more attractive than you, Sean. So
I'm about to cut my sleeves
hey, I
off
just
live
I just
on
want to
stream.
get in the mood for Omen. I got the hood.
Oh, okay.
Why do you have
The
a tank
headphones.
top with
Oh,
a hood on it? Oh my god.
hey
That's
man,
the Anders. That's the
yeah,
Anders.
exactly. We got a mic on. Mike, are you wearing a tank top? How you doing?
No, I'm not wearing a tank top. Good though.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's move things along because I know we want to get to the juicier parts of the show straight away. So let's get the business, the main business off the top of the show out of the way with. So we have another patch coming out, and there's not a huge amount to talk about necessarily. It was basically a lot of Viper buffs, and there's a slight nerf for Raze and Brim. But Viper's an agent that we covered a lot right at the beginning. We were super excited for her, and she's definitely not really entered the meta per se still. It feels like a huge outlier, but her kit's amazing. So do we feel like, I mean, are you already familiar with all the changes, Sean?
I am, yeah. I think the Viper buffs are pretty insane. Like, I don't know. I didn't actually get a chance to like run up against like a nutty Viper yet since the buffs. I don't know if Paula has or if you have, but I mean, just looking at them, she seems like she could just dominate a game.
Yeah. I actually have been playing quite a bit recently, and honestly, it's so much fun if you like, especially in the mid round situations, because especially with the ult as well. There's so many like ways you can lurk around your own smokes, and it's just like such a lurker's dream. I think playing Viper, she's so annoying, and the decay does more damage. It lasts longer now and amplifies the damage for 2.5 seconds after someone exits the acid or whatever causes the decay, and like the max time out of the ults increased massively. Maybe that's something we should focus our discussion on initially, because everyone was saying that her ult was a bit too shit, and this is one of the changes they've made. They also made it so that there's a much more increased brightness for Viper for detecting the enemies, that red glow in the smoke. So they increased that too.
I find it interesting because originally when the beta came out, I thought Viper was pretty useless. But then I ran across just a couple of people that were okay with her. I started seeing that she had a lot of like useful utility and she was quite viable. And so I think her getting like a massive buff like this is going to make a big difference. I don't think it massively changes the way she's played, but it just makes her already the kit that she already had a bit stronger. Like for instance, her ult is going to be so much more intimidating to be inside of. Like you said, the decay damage, but also the ability for her to see people more easily. It's going to be a lot more treacherous heading inside. But I always thought she was pretty good after, like I said, after initially meeting a few Viper players. And so I did always feel she needed a bit of a buff, but this seems like a really big one. Like it's going to draw a lot of players to her, I think.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I was watching fuck, I can't think of the guy's name. I feel really bad. Anyway, he was throwing like a smoke, like a pre-planned smoke, like on the bomb, right? And then he would throw like acids from outside the site on the
Yeah.
bomb when he heard a tap, and it could kill people before they even got halfway because of the decay. And you couldn't do that in the past. So like basically a Viper could dominate post plants
Yeah.
if you plant like a normal spot where she knows like pre-planned acids combined with like a brim molly. I don't even know how people could defuse a bomb. Like if you have a Viper brim alive, it's just not possible.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. The fact that she already had, the ability to throw. It's not like Brim has like two mollies, for example, but Viper actually can toss like completely destroy like two whole spots on a bomb site, on a retake or whatever it is. So that, like, I feel like that's something that we haven't really seen people master yet. Those retake snake bites. And on top of that, the other thing that's I think a really huge buff is the fact that if you have poison cloud, which is like the or the smoke as well as the toxic screen up, now it doesn't consume any additional fuel beyond the cost of just having one active. That's obviously like huge because now you can actually have both of those up for much longer together. So that also makes her ability to cut off segments of sites and stuff like way more powerful. So it does seem like, as you say, like her kit's just been just buffs. There's not like she plays differently. It's just like now, hopefully, people will really start to figure out how to play her.
I think too, like, I don't know if Paula's experienced this, but late at night, sometimes I'll queue with a Viper who like he just picked it up. And when you're Omen, Viper can like segment off sites and give you places to teleport to that you never had before. So it
You mean
actually,
with the wall that she
yeah,
does?
so you use the
Yeah.
wall and you teleport like in certain corners that you would never teleport to. It's so sick, actually. Like the
Yeah, it gives
Viper
you,
Omen combo is pretty dope.
yeah, her wall and Phoenix's wall, you can definitely use them as an Omen player to go into positions that would otherwise be a bit more obvious, or at least you'd be wide in the open, whereas one of
Yeah.
those walls can kind of cut off angles from you getting behind them. Guys, just a tangent from this. Do you think they're going to add a hero that will have, because you see in like CS, right? You throw a molly, you throw a smoke, the molly goes. Do you think they're going to add a hero with utility like that in Valorant? Because yeah, if this does end up becoming extremely strong, like for instance, Viper's acid dominating post plant, surely then that would need some sort of addressing in terms of balance.
Yeah, I guess it depends on like how many agents they would want to add. It kind of sounds like they wanted to add one per season, I think. Was
Yeah,
that right, Mike?
Yeah, so one every 2 months, so 6 a year.
Oh my god.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's so much.
That's a lot.
At that point, I feel like you do have to get into this territory of like just classifying all of the abilities of like, okay, this is a magical type of ability. This is a fire type. This is a poison type. This is ice type. And then maybe the fire cancels out the. I don't know, like if that's where it will go, but it does feel like they will have to find ways. I mean, it would be interesting if the abilities interacted, but it could be a clusterfuck if that happened as well. Like that could really, it could. The game already has a lot of variables in terms of just your team composition. If you add on top of that, oh, if these two abilities interact, this happens. Maybe Riot would think, okay, that would be too confusing. Ultimately,
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know the exact like timings that you just mentioned. So if Viper does plant in a spot where she can use her, again, I don't know all the official term. What's her acid thing called? I just
snake
call it
bite.
like
Snake bite.
snake bite. If she can use her snake bite in a post plant position, that if she's planted in a position where she knows the lineup for it and she's hidden, then yeah, surely that's like a one round. Or like the enemy team, they see that and then they instantly go hunting for her. That's the counter, right? But it seems extremely strong. And the only other counter is to stop Viper planting or make sure Viper is dead post plant.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's why I mentioned like tangentially. Oh, do you think they'll add someone to sort of
Mm.
counteract some of the strength of that? Because that does sound extremely strong. I mean, post plant mollies and even beforehand, Viper had lineups like they were already pretty strong. Same with Sova's shock darts. So I was just
No,
ruminating on the idea if it's perhaps too strong. If
she
she can
seems
just
too strong.
guarantee like a round win from it post plant.
She's definitely too strong right now. Like she's definitely too strong. Imagine this on Ascent, right? You have your wall, and instead of doing the one just directly like parallel to the site, you cut it diagonally. So like basically if you're playing Gen, you can't even see through A main. If you're playing default, you could only see A main from the right side of default, and you just keep activating and deactivating that wall. So if a Cypher's playing A, you just break his cam and then you break his trip, and then he has no idea if you're like walking into the site unless he peeks wide default. But that's a bad peek. So like I don't know, it's just Viper brings so many scenarios into the game where I just don't even understand how you would hold a site if a coordinated team has a Viper. I, it's a broken agent right now, in my opinion. It's just people haven't figured out how to use her.
I almost feel like we've been saying that since the beginning too,
Yeah.
to be honest. But Yeah, maybe they will have an agent that just has an ability where it's like about barriers and shields. Like it can regenerate shields. It can place like a barrier so that like a little orb over, let's say, the defuse spot. If you shoot it, it's really brittle, so like bullets will kill it, but it just defends against all abilities or something. Like yeah, maybe that is on the horizon. It's like quite hard to know. But I guess moving on the discussion, because we could probably speculate for forever about all
This is
that.
yeah. Sorry to jump in
Oh
there,
no, it's
but
all good.
this is one of the things I feel overall that's going to be the case with Valorant for a while. Is that, dude, we're so early on in the life cycle of the game that I feel like most heroes, but not discounting a few like Brim, who are relatively simple, right? They're going to have a lineup with their molly. Other than that, it's smokes and use of the ult. But like some of the more complex heroes, no disrespect to Brimstone mains, like nothing, by the way. But in general, there are some heroes that I think it's quite easy to see their limits. And then there are some heroes where we're still barely touching the surface. Like we're so early on in the game. Like even now, dude, I've been saying it from the start. With again, I'm going to go back to Omen, but I think he's by far the hero that you're going to see the most changes with in terms of how people play him and how people play against him over time. Because for instance, at the very start of the game's life cycle, you would never fake a teleport. Do you know what I mean? And just about now, 3-4 months into the game's life cycle, you're starting to see players react to that in a certain way. Like they hear that teleport sound and it gives you an opportunity to potentially fake it, go to a different off angle, etc. So with regards to theorizing about Viper, I think it's great, but yeah, we could spend so long just talking about the potential things that different heroes would do, but we don't know where it's going to end up yet. It's going to be like a constantly changing meta with how people expect things to come out from agents, how people expect agents to use their abilities, and then how people adapt from that. And that's how I see things developing. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to place exactly um, how things are going to go in game until people have played it a lot and we start knowing the natural reactions of people. If you
Yeah.
get my point.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
I think each agent has a lot of evolution in their gameplay still, like left to have, like you said, with Omen with the fake teleports. I think the mind games would say like the Sage walls, where and when to use the Sage walls is going to change a lot. Where and when to use the Viper walls is going to change a lot. I mean, Brim using his mollies for post plant. We've already
Molly.
seen, yeah, Molly. Open up the sky. Like,
Molly.
you just hate it. You hate hearing any of that shit when you're using it. But so all that's going to change. But what I do hope is that the devs don't introduce like a pick ban into this game. Like I really don't want a pick ban with the agents in this game, because that would just create so much RNG and like
Mhm.
chaos for
I
pro games. I dislike it.
you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but like in Valorant as opposed to League of Legends, someone on the other team can't pick the same hero in League of Legends, right?
I'm not sure.
Know
I have
nothing
no
about
idea.
League, so
Yeah.
Okay,
Chat,
well,
me
I
up
know,
the
I know,
chat.
I know in MOBAs that I've played, you can't pick the same hero on the other team, and when there's pick and ban and stuff, and even in most unranked game modes, or a lot of at least in ranked, you can't pick. Let's say I pick X hero, someone on the other team can't pick X hero, including pick and ban and stuff. So I would assume that with the way ranked is at the moment, where both teams, and also with the storyline, like I feel like the lore is pointing towards there being a reason why both teams can play the same heroes. I don't think there's going to be a pick and ban for heroes. Um, that's my theory at the moment, anyway, which I would like to add the caveat that I can happily take that back when I want. But yeah, I think that's the way it's going at the moment.
Well,
Yeah, I
as
think
a
it's definitely what their intentions are probably going to be, right? If they're introducing 6 agents a year, like in 2 years, there's going to be a pick ban, right?
I
yeah,
think so.
you'd imagine there'd be some kind of drafting process, but at the same time, maybe there's a world where they change their minds on how things go, because I'm sure
Yeah.
there's loads of stuff that they haven't predicted, and maybe they decide that actually they want to go the route of like more maps or something. But with that said, I think it's time to get into the next segment, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
no, it's all good. It's all good.
You don't have to be so aggressive, Dan. Like leave that to Sean. That's
Um,
usually his port of call.
Well, you know what? Like, so that's going to play nicely into this next segment because we haven't. This is something. This is like a run segment now. We haven't done this before. I wanna know what gets on your guys' nerves when you're playing matchmaking. Like, what really pisses you off about your teammates? What do you want? What do you think's just dumb about the game, or it's just dumb that something that's dumb that people are doing or saying in Valorant? Sean, do you have anything off the bat?
Oh, do I have some stuff off the bat?
Sova.
Do I have some stuff off the bat? Oh my god. Okay, let's get started here. One, communication. Communication in ranked. I played with players yesterday that didn't have a microphone that were in the immortal ranks. What? Who doesn't have a microphone in the immortal ranks?
Sons
All
of
right.
bitches.
That's where I'm going to start. Where I'm going to go next. All right. I got people asking me to play. They're Immortal 3. They're making me play against Immortal 3 people. They have 200 ping.
Oh yeah, I was in that game.
I
in
was
that game, Sean.
mauled, dude. This guy is literally queuing us into Immortal 3 ranked games with 200 ping. Why are you queuing with 200 ping? Come on. What are you doing? Third thing I'm going to complain about. As Omen, maybe I'm lucky because Omen has like a smoke, a flash, and teleports, but I know how to open up rounds no matter where I go to. I'm not going to take sub 50% duels anywhere on the map at the start of the round. Anywhere. I watch people like play Brimstone and they're just dry peeking corners that have like a 20% win rate. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just think about ways to enter sites. Like, just think about it, right? Where do the fights occur? Say you're playing Ascent. There's a guy that's always holding B main. There's a guy that's generally peeking A. Don't dry peek those areas at the start of the round. Just don't do it. Ask your teammate for a flash. Throw a smoke there. Throw anything there. Think about how to approach these areas on the map, right? Like, find something you like doing, like anywhere, and just do those things. I swear I play with people and they just dry peek the same things over and over and over and over. And then they complain about the ops in those places.
Yeah.
Just use utility. Holy shit. Those are my 3 biggest complaints. All right, your guys.
The operator is OP because
Do
I
you guys
cannot
do-
dry peek everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think the operator is actually OP, guys? I don't think it's like. Yeah, I think that I don't think that's the main. I don't think the gun's the main issue. I think maybe the gun could use some balancing. I'm not exactly sure what, but I don't often feel like I couldn't have won that fight versus the operator player. Like no matter what I did, most of the time it's like, oh, I could have done this, or like someone could have smoked that or flashed it. Like, do you know, the team composition could have been different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like it's an insanely overpowered weapon. I don't know. On a jet,
Yeah.
of course, she's brilliant with it because she can deny trades, but I don't think by default it's insanely overpowered.
I
Dude,
don't think the gun is OP. I think there needs to be a scope sound. That's about it. The problem is like it's harder to jiggle peek in this game, and the corridors are tiny compared to
Yeah.
CS.
Yeah.
But it's not to do with the gun itself. It's to do with the
Yeah.
game.
yeah,
Yeah.
the movement speed is like slightly slower and stuff, so the shots are a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree with the scoping thing. But at the same time, imagine in Counter Strike, if you could fucking teleport, if you could just teleport, or like
Yeah.
if you could throw up a wall that a smoke that goes across an entire bomb site, and you're just one guy, or like there's so many things and abilities and synergies in that exist in Valorant that serve to mitigate the power of something like an operator, and actually should, in theory, make it actually very difficult to use effectively at a good level. And it's a huge investment. It's a half of your max money as well. So it's something that should obviously be paying off. I do agree with the scope sound though. I think that there should be some, like in Counter Strike. We talked about this before. There's like that thing where, okay, you're going to have to decide between no scoping or scoping really early and then having a really small field of view when you're kind of trying to clear corners and stuff. And that's like a decision you have to make. And at least in CS, the no scoping is good. In this game, it's really bad. It's really, really bad to no scope with an operator in this game. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's pretty wank, honestly, in a lot of categories. But the fact that you can walk around scopes and or rather, sorry, you can scope and no one can hear you, I think is one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, Neiman in chat says it can be hard to coordinate utility with a bunch of randoms in order to effectively counter an op. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
disagree with that. I think that's
It's the same
definitely
in
part of
CS,
the issue.
right? In
Yeah.
matchmaking or like face it pugs, it's still like the AWP is more powerful in those scenarios, but that's just like the nature of the beast. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like it's like in lower level matchmaking games. People are like, oh, the auto sniper's a noob gun, but we all know that the auto sniper has huge downsides. If you're up against an
Yeah.
auto, it's actually really shit in many respects.
Yeah.
And you never
Dan,
see it in
don't
pro
swear.
play.
This is a family show. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. Sean was getting me worked up, man, with all the. There's so much more to go through as well. You know
There's so
what,
much
Paula?
more.
Do you want to go next? Because I know we've got our
Yeah,
resident
sure.
molder, Mike, who's ready to pull the trigger. Okay, you can go first,
I
Paula.
think that the most prevalent issue to me is still that people are just too afraid to press W, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I know Omen's a good initiator and instigator of fights, played the right way, but I feel most of the time I'm the first person onto a site purely because my 4 other teammates, like, they don't want to commit. Like, for instance, Bind on B, where people sit in hooker for like 20, 30 seconds, like, you know, just like looking, and you smoke off CT, you smoke off elbow, and like, okay, you might have someone long holding that, but the last thing to do is like you need to like maybe flash out, use a molly, some utility, use a bit of utility, and just jump out. You just got to go. Like, I still feel that's a massive issue. I don't know if it's to do with trying to pad kills or not wanting to die first, but I'm so over it these days. You know, just go. Like, I'm happy to do that. Like, if I get trade out for a kill, but I still find that like a massive issue that I always seem to have to be the first one out. That
Dude.
frustrates me a lot. And I know a lot of other people have felt the same, that people are afraid to just breach sites, go in first. Like, especially in a game like Valorant, where your utility is split between different agents. Like, you play a role. Like, if you're going to be the guy that goes out, like, do it, or just be happy to do it regardless if you've already put your utility out. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people can relate.
Oh, you mean you don't like, just sitting in hookah for 30 seconds and no one knows what to do. Your smokes have faded. So you're like, all right, guys, I'm just going to teleport out, bait me. And then you die and your Phoenix still has 2 flashes, a Molly,
Yeah.
your Reyna has 2 flashes. You're like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
What are you-
exactly. It's so annoying, so frustrating. It
No,
really
seeing
is.
all the flashes when I die, that's like the most triggering thing. It's like I just run out to my death and this person decided to just sit on their flashes. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not okay.
That's probably the most prevalent thing that I really dislike. It's the one that stands out to me in most matches I play. The other is just like basic team coordination. In terms of, if you have X composition, like knowing what are the I'm not bro. I'm casual player for all intents and purposes, but still, like, knowing the basic strengths and weaknesses of the kit that your team has overall, and how you can maybe execute towards the site. When I'm playing most matches, people get stuck in a loop. I don't know if you guys have found this playing with random people, but let's say you get pushed off B on ascent, and then they're just like, for the next 8 rounds, they just start the round outside of A. There's like no mid control, no map control. You're like, oh,
Mhm.
guys, maybe we could just, like, readjust, maybe think of some other options here. And they're just still standing outside of A, and they'll run out one by one. That I find very frustrating as well, is that even if people are communicating and stuff, they're not necessarily trying to approach around in a reasonably. I'm not asking for fucking, sorry, excuse my language. I'm not asking for like super hardcore Shawnee G Cloud9 strats. I'm just talking about like just basic coordination. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. You want your like Sova on the team to know, like, all right, 3 rounds. All I want you to do, Sova, is just know how to drone through hookah, how to drone through shower, how to drone up short, and just tell us what that you're doing it so that way we can follow it. Like, so
Yeah.
just literally give us any info. You want your Rays to know like 3 boom bots, like 1 for hookah, 1 for shower. I mean, if we're playing Haven, just literally throw the boom bot into garage. We can literally use your shit to clear out a large portion of the map, right? Just know 3 things for each agent, right? Like, that you play. Like, I'm not asking too much, right? That's not too much. Just literally just know how to clear an area. Like,
Yeah.
any agent can clear 1 spot on the map, right? Like, say Haven C. Brimstone could smoke Haven C long every round and then just get that control so an upper can't play C. Like, every agent has something they can do. But it seems like people pick Asians and they just do nothing. They're just playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
It's very annoying.
All right, Mike, get in there.
Oh boy. Okay, first quick one. People who insta-lock any duelist and then immediately tell someone to play Sage that isn't locked in yet. 2, when you're playing attacking side and you try to help people set up a default and they just do some random shit. Like on Haven every time, I'm telling people like, okay, I can smoke long A cross for you so you can get an A short and get that control. And they'll get down into A short, and then like 10 seconds later, they'll be dead in the middle of the A site. And it's like, do I have to tell you like every 5 seconds what you should be doing? Like, just because you get control somewhere doesn't mean you have to keep pushing. And then immediately after that, they're like, oh, this default shit isn't working. I'll just follow you around because you're getting kills.
Yeah.
And then they 5-man and stomp around, even though like, obviously you've seen what the person on your side of the map is doing, right? You're like countering what they're doing. You're like, okay, maybe they'll do this round because I've been punishing them when they've done this. And then everyone's like just running, wide swinging, holding W in your area. It's like, why? Just please leave my area. Don't follow me.
That was actually what I was going to mention as well, where it's like they'll like try to get people to default, and then it's like, okay, and then you say like, oh, I'm gonna lurk bathrooms, okay, on attack here on Bones, and it's like you turn around, there's like 4 fucking dudes looking straight at you. It's like, why are you here?
Yeah.
There's an
That-
entire
that-
on the map.
I think that problem goes hand in hand with the one that I mentioned and that most people feared about people not wanting to commit to sites. It's like if you start taking the lead slightly, the rest of the people on your team often start being like, okay, all right, I'll stand behind this guy, you know, like they'll look to trade you out, you know. It's like, come on, guys, like what's that about,
Yeah.
man? What is that?
It's always duelists too that are the ones who are
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'll just follow this guy around, but I won't actually like try to initiate in his area for him. I'll just like walk behind him and trade him.
I
Yeah.
hate that duelists. I've never run into a duelist in rank that has preset ways to use their flashes. Like whether it's like a breach, a phoenix, a Reyna, I've never ever, literally never, have run into someone outside of like a queue that I've queued in with. Like I've asked someone to queue with me. I've never had a duelist say, "Hey guys, I'm gonna flash." You say into hookah and then out of hookah every round we hit B. No, none of them have ever done that. That's insane. That's insane. That's your only goal is to actually tell us what you're flashing and to initiate. Like
Yeah.
that. Maybe they're waiting for me to call strats because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but no one's ever told me they're gonna flash into hookah. They're gonna flash out of short A Haven. They're gonna flash into garage Haven. It's never happened. It's crazy, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I think this is one that you guys will find funny. I think I played a game with Mike recently, and there was someone that was like telling Mike to use his brim smokes because he wanted to save his omen smokes. I'm just
Oh
like,
my god.
Yeah,
come on.
we're playing.
Pure anti-logic there, you know. Look, my rechargeable smokes, I've got to hold on to these bad boys, all right? Let's get your ones out there, all right? Let's make...
We were playing Ascent too, and I was just telling him like, here, you smoke off catwalk, like deep in the archway, and then we'll take mid control because they're playing like a sage back mid, and then I'll smoke back mid when we progress through the archway because then they'll be less likely to like stand in or push through it. It's like, no, you just smoke that shit, and then I'll use mine later. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It is really mad how like there is this idea that people don't understand that this game requires team play. So if there's a lot of people I've run into that if they're doing badly or if you're losing or something, it's because you're like messing shit up and it's got nothing to do with them. And this is often like a duelist mentality. And it's like so it's like it's this classic thing of like, okay, let's try to hit this a bomb site after a default. It doesn't work, and then then you tweak some things and then like starts working, and then people just go back to something that wasn't working again. So it's like they just thought, okay, cool, let's go back to like this other bomb site where nothing was working, and then they start complaining that everything's shit, and then they start breaking down and they start like blaming people, and it's just
Yeah.
so weird that everyone is so quick to blaming people and no one wants to work together. It's like a team play game, and everyone's out there for themselves and their stats. Sucks, man.
Yeah, I feel like
I've
a
just
lot of
realised you have a Valorant green screen behind you, by the way, Dan. Big
Yeah.
respect, mate. I for a second I thought it was like some sort of I don't know, prop or like
No,
a
he had
banner that
an
Riot has
artist
sent
come
you, but
in. That's his
a really
wall.
well done green screen,
He
man.
hand painted his wall.
You see, do you like the ciphers just like poking out, just looking over my shoulder?
Fuck that guy, man. Fuck
He-
Cypher play. No, I'm kidding.
Dan's a snitch, so he has Cypher, and then his only other agent is the British
Bro,
guy.
I'm
Of
not
course.
saying it was me, but it was me that popularized calling Cypher a rat. All right, look, I said it. Okay,
I
I'm
call him
not
a
taking
snitch,
credit.
dude.
I'm not taking credit, but Cypher is known as a rat.
No,
right, these
dude,
days.
Cypher's not a rat. He's a snitch. Omen's
Bro,
the
stop
rat.
trying to reappropriate
Omen's
the
the
term.
rat.
All right, Cypher's a
We're
rat.
rat-
I
we're
hear
the
so many
rats.
people saying it. All right, and I disseminated that through the waves. I'm kidding, guys, but yeah, Cypher is a rat. I'm not a big fan of him.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him either. Same with Sovas. Sovas
Yeah.
are the fucking worst.
You know what? Cypher's even though this isn't actually something I've seen Cypher players do. If Cypher was like a real person, I'd imagine this would be the person he is. Like the people that try, like, just you go down 0-5, and they're calling for the surrender. It's like, why are you in competitive? And then it's always like, oh, they're just better than us. Well, that's the entire point. That's why we're
Yeah.
playing the game. That's the whole point of this whole system. It's not that you just get to be better every single game. Why are you here? Go play Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft or something like that. I agree.
What can we rant about now?
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we usually are disparaging about tier lists, so I guess we don't have to do that again.
We've done
Um,
that like 4 times, I think.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Let's see. What can we argue about, or what can we complain about?
Dan, which agent or agents do you prefer? I don't know anything about
He
Dan.
has no
Dan, you usually
identity.
stream when it's quite late when I'm not
Yeah.
on.
I mean, it depends like what mood I'm in. Like if I'm in a mood, because sometimes so that's just the cool thing about this game because
Dan puts on a mood ring to decide his age. It's like green. All right, I'm gonna be Sova today.
But if it was green, he'd be Viper, wouldn't he, Sean?
Yeah, he'd be Viper. He puts on a mood. You remember mood rings? I haven't seen one of those in years. Do you even know what I'm talking about? Is that an American thing?
I think so. I don't know what the fuck that is, man.
You don't know what a mood ring is?
I've heard of them. I mean, it's some sort of new agey bullshit that's not actually real, right?
No, it's definitely real, bro. Hold on,
Um,
I'm gonna get a link for you real quick.
No, but for me, it's like a combination of things: who I'm playing with, the mood I'm in, and the map. So like I really like playing Jet because Jet's just like really fast paced, gets in there. That's like I'm an aggressive player by nature, and similarly, like I like Raze for similar reasons. I love the movement options
Yeah.
a Raze has. So those are definitely picks I like. But I also do like depending on the lineup. Like if we're lacking. If let's say it's an ascent and no one's picked brimstone, I'm probably picking an omen or something. Or if it's like a split, I'm gonna pick what I think helps the team the most. So it's like a brim or an omen usually, because of the smokes, and I trust myself to know how to use those better and like control what's going on with my team better. But also like there's certain times when I like playing like really slow like with Cypher and Viper as well. So it just like depends. I like to play everything really. That said, I was thinking about going omen main. What do you guys think
Dude,
about that?
Oh, great. I'm
Guys,
surrounded by them now.
Obviously I'm biased, right? I think I've probably played over 99% of my games as Omen. I prefer to play him. But I genuinely think, and obviously this is my opinion. I don't necessarily think this is the objective right opinion, but for my personal opinion is that I think Omen can fit into it any composition. He always has utility. He's very awkward to find that utility, but I think his kit makes him the reason why. So I loaded up Valorant beta. I heard a bit about the heroes. The agents. I started playing, and then I played Omen, and I found out you can teleport across angles with him. For me, there was nothing comes close in terms of the agents in the game that is as interesting as that. It's like a complete disruptor in terms of FPS mechanics that we've seen in competitive games, at least over my whole life. I've not played another game or FPS that's competitive where you can do something that would seem on a base level so fundamentally broken. You know what I mean? And it works like it, and it doesn't work all like it requires a high level of thought and input. And I think it's so interesting that coupled with his smokes and his flash, I truly think that he's such a solid pick in for me in any composition as a replacement for certain other heroes. But I know that's not necessarily always going to be the case. But for me, I think he's so interesting and a hero that has such high utility. Primarily because of his smokes and his flash, but like at the highest level, not referring to myself here, but I mean in terms of as he gets played more, as the pro starts using more, people like Sean get brainstorm with him more. Like there are so many options you can do with him that are just not possible with other people. Like instigating fights, like starting off your executes with him in multiple different ways. The way I see him is he's like a gambler. Omen, you have to know your odds about where you're teleporting, where you're ulting to, and it's like playing poker a bit. I just don't. I think that's why I play him. That's why he's my favorite hero, and that's the hero I always go to if I can. I know Sean's similar, but I was interested to hear who you play, Dan, and so I was just sharing about why I play Omen, why he's my personal choice.
Dan's a jet shotgun main.
Jet shotgun main.
Let's fucking just bury him right now.
Brilliant.
Let's bury him.
Brilliant.
Okay, so
Go on, Dan. Go on.
yeah, no, so I wanted to get Mike's thoughts because Mike has an identity as a Brimstone main. I don't know that there are many of those that exist out there, so we can ask. So let's go through Mike's reasons why he's a Brimstone main. That's why he chose that identity, and then we'll have to start moving on to the next segment. So Mike, why are you Brimstone main?
Think just like when I played beta, I'm like, this is very similar to CS. I know a lot of people kind of like bag on like, oh, this is like, he's such like a dumbed down, like easy character to play because here's your iPad and left click, left click, and there you go. But I think the way I use him on certain maps is more of like what he's actually supposed to do, like a controller instead of a character that you use to smoke off points for you. I think he's really good at just like, because, like, the way I played CS a lot is, like, I'm going to be by myself in this area of the map, but you can rely on me to gain control of this area or try to figure out what they're doing. I think it's pretty easy to do with him because it's, like, if you know people are just aggressively wide peeking you, you can either, like, smoke the area they're swinging from or molly it late, even though it's better. Like, his utility's better.
Molly! No, sorry.
Molly.
We need a quick bite of that.
Bounces across the ground.
Yeah.
He makes it sound so fierce, and then it just bounces all over the place. It's like a little
like a
rubber
bouncy ball, yeah. But yeah, like there's still people that pick him that I can tell don't want to actually play him, and it's like, why don't you just play Omen instead? Because like they don't buy stim beacons ever.
What are you trying to say about Omens?
No, I'm just saying like Omen would be like better for them to use because like they would actually buy his utility. I'm so sick of people that play Brimstone and they're like, yeah, stim beacons are really trash, man. I'm just not gonna buy it ever. And then they just,
I think
like,
stim
never use
beacon is
them.
one of the best things about Brim, especially on pistol rounds. If you have a marshal, positionally, the stim beacon, if you can hide it, is so good. It gives you
Well, now
that
they
extra
can't see
fire
it,
rate
right?
that can win you fights. Oh,
They
really?
can't see it, and they can't use it after the
Ah,
last.
I think
okay.
the visual thing
buff.
is kind of a dumb change, honestly, because I always used it to like make people think I was somewhere else. Like if I'm in a 1v1 or something, just throw it like a frisbee across the fucking map.
Well, they want now Brim to clearly be like part of initial hits, right? So basically, Brim should use his stim beacon. Say if it's like split, Brim is now like 10 times better if there's that Sage wall meta in mid, because he can just throw a stim in the middle of mid. You immediately take down the wall, and then you could throw another stim like heading into mail. And the other team can't take the stim and they can't see it. So you can just rush heaven with the stim. Like it just
Yeah.
seems really OP to have Brim in mid on split right now.
Sean, you say that about everything, like Viper, you know. I think she's broken. And Brimstone, you know,
Yeah.
he's so OP.
No, dude, there's certain agents that should be able to take certain areas of the map every time. But the problem is that the people that play these agents that I run into don't do any of this shit. Like they literally don't do anything. But
yeah.
technically you shouldn't be able to stop, you know, a Viper wall and a stimmed out team rushing you in mail. Like that's just not going to happen.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you mean. I'm just teasing, bro. I think
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to mention at the start is that I don't think there are many people that are really pushing limits with heroes. I think it's great where the competitive scene is at, but I don't know. But especially because so many of our players have come over from CS to Valorant now, a lot of people are still approaching things traditionally, which is why I think Omen's not really caught on properly and is only getting a bit of traction now. Because to utilize odd things like Omen, maybe Viper's utility, and like Mike just mentioned, I'd never thought about that, using my stim as a distraction. That's fucking smart, dude. Like things like that, like they're going to be big game changers at some point. And I think as more teams and more people start pushing limits of like, oh, how can I use this intuitively, spontaneously, or within a strat of some sort where we're purposefully trying to push a boundary here, as opposed to like, okay, a smoke is for smoking off. Okay, a flash is for flashing an air. Like, you know, those are maybe bad examples, but you know what I mean? Maybe thinking about like Omen's TP, it started off, oh, you teleport behind them and shoot them back of the head. And then it evolved to, okay, maybe you have to pick a different angle because they know I'm going to go there. And then it became fake TPing. And now they're all like, it's like a little tree that started off as that one point, right? Those diagrams. And then it starts like, I think that's the case with all heroes. And yeah, like I completely get what you mean, Sean. Is like sometimes things appear to be extremely strong when they're being experimented with properly.
Like, imagine holding your spot as Omen and you hear a drone coming in, but the Sova also shot a really high recon arrow that's coming around the same time as the drone. So you have to break a drone or let it hit you or dodge it, but there's also a recon arrow coming out of the sky. Simultaneously, there's people fucking rushing you. Like, what are you doing? Are you breaking the drone? Are you ignoring the drone? Are you going to get hit by the
I
recon?
never
Like,
shoot drones. I never shoot drones.
That's
That's what. Let's talk about. Let's go back to something to rage about real quick, everybody in the chat. All right. Stop shooting Sova drones. Stop it. Unless it's like a key part of your anti-strat. Do not shoot the drone. Like, he's going to get information if you shoot it. He's going to know at least one person's there. Probably three, because everyone starts panicking. They're like, oh my God, there's a bird in the sky. Fuck it, dude. It's going to see you, or if you shoot it, it's going to know you're there. So why not just walk past it? Maybe try to even sprint past it. Same as the Sova ult, right? For me as Omen specifically, here's
I'm
one
running
example.
past it. Next time I play, I'm running past it.
Bro, I rarely
fighting.
ever shoot Sova drones. It's so.
I've never tried it. But I'm
have
doing
you never
it next
not
time.
shot?
It's really
No,
good.
I have
it
to
catches
shoot
them off guard.
It's like a
Yeah,
fly.
dude.
It's like a fly, dude. You have to.
No, bro. Trust me.
Fucking
All
shit out
jokes
the
aside
sky.
now about the exaggerated rage. More often times than not, I think you're going to get a positive outcome if you don't shoot a Sova drone, because you can roughly locate where the drone has come from based on sound cues and based on how long it's been alive for. Like, you know where, like, for instance, bind on B long. Like, you know, if a drone's come out there, he's probably in garden, right, or on that little nook around the corner. And if you start rushing through, he will get out of the drone himself. But at least it gives you some more time to play with, maybe gather a bit more information. Talking about split, I often with Omen play towards the B side, B mid, B solo. I don't know if those are optimal positions. It's where I prefer to play. If a Sova sends up a drone through mid into heaven, into that corner that with the diagonal wall, I know that he's going to go up that staircase, look right into that cubby, and then try and clear me out. I'll try and time a teleport so that when he's looked into that corner, I'm teleporting as he's coming up to check me in the corner I'm in. So he thinks that corner's clear when I've just teleported into it, for example. So that's a little semi-rad on Sova drones and how I approach them. It doesn't necessarily address the question that you posed to me, because that's a much harder situation. But just for an example, I would try to calculate a best approach, if you know what I mean. Bro, I've got my veins popping out and stuff.
What do you do with the boombot, Paula? Do you run past the boombot?
Boombot again. This is a really hard one to time, but with a TP, you can have it activated and be behind it with a good TP. I've only done it a few times, and you need it to be coming from a certain length away. But if you see it from, let's say, 10, 15 in-game feet away, and you save your teleport, and you know your teleport's going to activate just as it shoots up, bro, like they think they've just popped you with a bot, and really you're on the angle where the bot just came from. I've gotten a couple. I'm not going to exaggerate. I've gotten a couple of kills like that before, and you can only imagine with people practicing that stuff, it could become very successful.
How many times did you blow up trying to figure that out?
I've probably, like, let's say if I blew up 6 times, 7 times, I probably successfully did it 3 times, or maybe blew
not
up
a
8
bad
times,
ratio.
successfully 2
Sounds
times.
sounds
It's
like
not-
about the ratio of the people I'm playing with.
Well, no, it's not a great ratio, but it's testing it out, right? It's pushing the limits.
Yeah.
If I had more opportunities to test that, I could probably pull it off more regularly. It's still going to be like tough, but in that situation, what are your other options? Shoot it. They know exactly where you are. Let it, like, maybe try to run away and you get cut up going across the angle. Like it's like weighing up those different options, at least in my mind, in my immortal mind. All right, everybody, it's been great fun. I'll see you.
I don't know how more
Alright.
people don't. I'll just add this quick. More people don't know that it doesn't see you when you're in a smoke with it. The
Yeah.
Oh,
boombot.
really?
Like,
Dude,
people
don't
when
realize
it gets
that.
omen flashed, it's so deceiving because it has the little blind over it, but when it's nearsighted, so it can still see you, the boom bot.
Oh yeah.
It can come at you. It's so annoying. So
Well-
yeah, don't blind the boom bot. It doesn't do anything, guys.
With that said, we'll move on to the next segment, which is the Ask Us Anything. So if you guys have any questions for us, throw them in the chat. And I already have one I saw in the chat from Sliggy, who had the question. Sliggy.
Who?
Sligwell.
Connor
Do you know that-
Sliggy Blomfield.
Do you know the Snoop Dogg meme, guys? Who?
I don't actually know that meme. I don't know.
You know the
I
meme?
don't know any memes. I'm sorry. Don't know.
I
what
gotcha,
meme it is.
Paul. I gotcha.
So Sliggy asks, I have a question for the end. Was Riot too fast to buff Jet, seeming as it's a high skill ceiling champ and it got a buff 2 weeks into the game? Or do you guys think it's in a good place?
Yeah, I think they buffed Jet too soon. I think they've been listening to the community too much, truthfully. Like, I think the way they had the game balanced based on what they thought was correct. I don't think they needed to buff Viper. I don't think they needed to. They're going to buff Breach. I don't think they need to do that.
What? They're gonna buff Breach?
Apparently. Yeah, apparently they said that. I don't know. That's what I've heard. And then Jet, I also don't think needed a buff. I think Jet kind of breaks the game, in my opinion, because all the other agents in the game require some kind of synergy. And Jet is just some glue-eating agent that literally she can just run around, no comm, get in like the worst scenario you can imagine, and just dash away. Or she can eat extra glue and dash at you with a judge and go up in the
Or a
sky.
shorty.
Her ult is broken as fuck. Literally, it's the most accurate item in the entire game and can one-shot you. Or you could right-click and kill someone like, 10 meters away. It's so broken. And then when you get a kill, you get it fully recharged. Like, what? And when you die and get rezzed, you get it back.
Yeah, that's the
Like,
most
that is
annoying part.
so broken. That is so
I can't-
broken.
I can't believe they're buffing Breach. I know he's not picked as much these days. I don't see him as regularly in game. But I remember coming across during the beta, Breach players that you could see their Breach mains. They were so successful. His flash used correctly it's almost not telegraphed. Like if you see that thing on the wall before it pops, you're gonna get flashed. Unless you've got 1,600 DPI and you're playing on like 10 sensitivity. I don't know. That's my personal experience. I think Breach is a very strong hero, just picked less these days.
Yeah.
He is.
Basically,
He's
I
really
think
good.
that's it. We felt like he was the best agent. He hasn't. It's not like he hasn't
I
been
thought he was
adopted.
S tier, man.
Yeah.
Dude, they're listening to the community way too much. They're gonna nerf the op next. They're gonna fuck. What else are they gonna do? Who
They
else?
said
do
they
How
weren't
can-
actually going to nerf the op. Morello said they weren't. So
All
that's
the
good, at
community
least.
loves the shorty, so literally they'll probably lower the shorty price from 200 to 100. It'll make me literally
$50.
quit the game if they do it. I swear to God, if they make it 100, I'll quit. I'll quit right away. No, I'm just playing.
Wait, guys, when you all three of you, when you play a match and you're playing X hero and the enemy team has X hero, do you feel more like personally invested in the match?
Yes.
If I ever play against
Yeah.
another Omen, I'm like,
Dude,
okay, buddy, all right, let's.
it's the
let's show
worst
you-
when you get abilitied by your same agent. Like say like an
Yeah.
omen telly's behind you and kills you. You're just
Never
like,
happens.
Yeah, oh my God. It happened yesterday. The guy teleported in front of Dan, so I ignored him. and he killed me in the back. I was like, oh no, the omen
Okay.
tellied me. It hurt me a little bit on the inside.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
clipped that because I was streaming and I looked at it again. I was like, ooh. That's like that trust exercise, and I just like let you fall to the ground
Like
and I
imagine
don't
being
catch you.
a Jet and getting Jet shorty killed, like dash shortied. You'd feel pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that.
All right, let's get some more questions here from the chat.
Dan has
Okay.
a really good one.
Okay, ask it for us, Mike.
So I was thinking about this yesterday as well, but I'm actually on the opposite spectrum of the question. So what do you think of adding more depth to this ping system to help in comms and solo queue, like op here or flash here?
I'm one of those guys that doesn't use. I still don't really know how to ping. Like you hold the button and you can click right ahead of you. I know you can ping on the mini map, right? Like when you bring up the map, but I still don't ping ahead of me and stuff. And I think more depth would only be a good thing.
Yeah, I feel like there's no reason not to have it in there, honestly, because
that?
it doesn't take away from anything.
The ping system. Like when you
Ah.
ping on a map. I was thinking yesterday for like competitive scenes, almost like getting rid of a lot of the features of it personally, but
Yeah, I think the ping system's a little bit whack, honestly. Like,
On the
I
bomb
don't.
and stuff, that's a bit crazy, but
yeah.
It's a
You
bit too
shouldn't be able-
strong that on the bomb, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and like people haven't fully figured out how to abuse it yet, but I've started to do it in certain scenarios. So like, imagine you spawn on Haven, like on attack outside of long A. You can ping the corner of long A and just like jump peek your ping, and it'll look absolutely insane to the person holding the corner because you're
Yeah.
literally jumping and pre-firing your ping, which is at the corner.
I didn't even
Like
think
people
about
are
that.
gonna start doing stuff like that because they can see the pings through the wall. Like,
Okay,
it's
change my mind,
actually
get rid of it.
dumb. Yeah, it's actually dumb. It makes people not have to understand like map knowledge correctly, and it allows them
Yeah.
to do stuff like that. If you're an opera, you just like jump peek into your ping.
Well, I
Maybe
think
it's.
with go ahead.
No,
I
I
was
was
just
gonna
gonna
say
say maybe it's
maybe
something
the
which
ping
requires
system's not needed
vision.
then.
Maybe that's how you solved all those issues. Is that it requires like direct vision from the
Yeah.
person, and then that would probably solve almost all of those problems.
Mm.
Maybe.
Probably.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, like, people are talking about it from a standpoint of improving comms, but I think it actually makes comms worse because then people just rely on that. Whereas in Counter-Strike, it's kind of like, if you don't talk, you don't have comms. Whereas, like, in this game, it's like, okay, if we keep improving the ping system, people are gonna talk less and just keep pinging. And there's gonna be like a million, like every 10 seconds across the map.
I think that's a good point, Mike.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the ping system. I don't like it.
I think the
Oh,
bomb
pupper.
thing is the most broken part of it.
Look at the puppy. Look at the puppy.
Yeah, I mean, I've not really thought about it like that before, but I've always felt when there's like a bomb plant down, being able to ping directly where it is when you have a Sova on your team or it's like a wall bangable position, I think that is a bit silly actually. That shouldn't really be in the game.
Yeah,
It feels like too strong.
yeah. I like it in a way because it does make playing casually matchmaking and stuff. It makes it a little bit easier for me because a lot of the people that are going to be using the pings are probably not going to be using their mics anyway, and that's obviously something we talked about before. Is that people for some reason aren't using their mics in competitive, and it's so this is actually a thing I was thinking about previously. Is that I feel like you should be able to. There should be like a behavior rating system where you can rate people on your team. So like let's say if there's someone that doesn't use a microphone, you can just there's like a way that you can rate them and say like this person doesn't talk, and then like basically over time, if you talk all the time and let's say you have like lots of good ratings for being a good teammate and communicative and positive and stuff like that, then you'll get queued up with preferentially with those other people who also talk and are have similar behavior ratings or whatever you want to call it, and then you don't get games where people aren't using their comms or their mics, and you're not going to get games as much with people that are going to go down 0-5 and then start spamming surrender and start talking shit to their teammates. Like I feel like that kind of system should exist in this game because otherwise I feel like so many people are getting punished for trying to play the game correctly and they're getting disenfranchised, for trying to play the game correctly.
Yeah, it's there is, but the thing is, like, we talk about like the communication in game and like the issues with it, but it can be the exact same situation with CS, right? It's not like every CS matchmaking game you play or face it game, whatever matchmaking service you use. It's not like you join. There's always people on the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tricky thing to know what we should expect. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think that like in CS at least, you have third-party services where there is like an investment and stuff. And even though it's not perfect, there it is like a generally a better experience. Like if you go into a like hub and face it, or like you're playing ESEA or whatever, in theory, you should be getting a better experience than the matchmaking because people are more invested in the competitive elements. Whereas in matchmaking in Valorant, there's just one service, so it's the be all and end all. There's no other place to go. So I feel like
Yeah.
they need to make sure that it's going to serve the people that really want to play competitively within their system. In that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, you don't know, like, when you solo queue into like a matchmaking game, you could literally be playing with some guy that got carried by 4 other cheaters, like, for example, like, what about the teammates of that Fox and Wheat guy, right? I'm sure they were queuing with people in ranked for the last several months before they got banned for cheating, and those people got their rank super upgraded by playing with fucking cheaters, like, then those 3 players that were queuing with those other 2 guys now have inflated ranks and you're playing with them. That probably doesn't happen in Face It in CS because it's a different experience, like you said.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, Mike, have you seen any other questions that are good? I think we have time for one more before we move forwards to the last segment.
My chat just deleted, so that is
Oh, okay.
fantastic.
Nice. Okay.
Do you guys
Paula,
have
do you
the
have any
chat open?
questions?
Peak asked, how do you guys feel about the smurfing issues?
Ooh, yeah.
I've only ever played on one account. And I've always been around high diamond.
Yeah, I think it's a big
And so
problem.
I haven't experienced Smurfs. I don't really know what it, but I do hear of people making second accounts so that they can just go and have fun, whatever,
Dude.
messing around.
Yeah,
Lower
so
ranks.
that was actually me. I made a second account to play at nighttime when I was like trying to like decompress and not actually try super hard. Then I realized how quickly I could rank up. I got to Immortal 3 in like 20 games.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, I just kept ranking up and ranking up and ranking up. After every game, I would rank up. It operates in a very different way based on how many games you've played. Like you get more elo because of the amount of games you've played. Whereas on my main account, it might take me, like a dozen games to break out of a rank. It only takes like a couple on my Smurf. And I think
Yeah,
it's so stupid. It's so
I had
broken.
5 wins in a row yesterday, I think, on Diamond 2, and I didn't get Diamond 3. And I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw Daps and player. I'm sure everyone in the chat knows, but Gen G CS:GO player, great guy. He posted a screenshot and he got ranked up from Diamond 3. Then every Immortal game that he won, I think he got a rank up, and then
Yeah.
got to Radiant in like 6 matches or something. I was like, okay, sign me up for that,
What?
please. Like that sounds like a nice trajectory. But these elo systems are always going to be imperfect. You know what I mean? And talking about that, Neiman in chat, if Mike's chat's still not updated, he asked earlier. We know the current rank system is going to be reworked. I only found out about that yesterday. What changes would you want to see made, if any?
Okay, so this will be the last question that we answer because we've got to move things forwards. Just to set the stage for that one. I think for me, I want that kind of behavior system. I just want to filter out people that are toxic. I don't care kind of what they change ultimately. I just want to filter out people that are toxic.
I think that's a good one. I think for ranked, they need to fix the whole Smurf thing because a lot of people got Radiant by playing with people on Smurf accounts. So like what
Yeah.
ends up happening is like someone like Wardell, for example, who is insanely good and definitely a Radiant level player, he'll create a Smurf. His Smurf will be set at like a Diamond 3 level, and then he'll queue with other like low Immortal players, right? Well, those Immortal players, when they win that game, they're going to get increased elo, but they wouldn't have ever won that game had Wardell been on his main account because his main account would have queued to Radiant level players. But with his alt account at Diamond 3, he's queuing into like Immortal 1 games, You know, do you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's carrying players into high ranks that
Mm.
shouldn't be there. And that's
Okay.
the problem with Smurf accounts, in my opinion, is it's inflating the ranks of people that don't deserve to be in the high ranks.
For
That
me, with the ranking system, I just like to see like a number, and once you pass a certain threshold, that you're going to get the next rank, or you're going to get ranked down, or whatever. That's the only thing that I'd like to see.
yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do about the whole like ranked problems right now. There's a lot of like weird quirkiness with the ranks and like how people get their ranks and what
It's
it
the
takes
same
to
thing
be
in
ranked.
CS:GO though, bro. Like my main account on CS, I think when I started playing a bit more on my main account a few months ago, or like end of last year, and I had like 40 wins at Supreme and like 5 losses. And I still didn't get global. Eventually I did. And then on my second account, like which it's purely a road to global account for content. I think at one point I had like a win loss, win loss, win loss, and each win I would get a rank up. I went from like the double AK rank to like legendary eagle in like 3 games or 4 games. So it's not just like I don't know how it is in other games, but directly comparing CS and Valorant, there are weird quirks to these systems. I think a visible number would help a bit. I don't think the thing that you're mentioning, Sean, can actually be avoided. If people make new accounts and they have great performances in each game, boosting them up, and then they play with people a bit higher than them that aren't necessarily of the skill level above them, they are going to naturally get boosted there because they're getting like elo, like a positive elo, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if it's possible, man. I don't know how these algorithms work, mate.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would actually add is something they're doing in Diabolical that's actually
Shout out
going
James.
to
Shout out
yeah right
James.
now is they basically have a they're trying to solve some of these problems of like that we have in Valorant, where like in Valorant it's very hard to do anything solo queue in matchmaking. And so they have this system where it's you have a solo rating and a team rating when you queue into a team mode. So I think something like that would be really awesome, just because you could get people that are actually just maybe they prefer to play by themselves and just drop in with random people, but you're going to be playing with other people that only are able to get to higher ranks with the solo ranking by actually being good at playing with random people, which means you're going to have to communicate, you're going to have to try to be good at your roles and stuff like that. And I think that could be a much better environment. And then when you actually have people stacking, you're stacking, and it's a team rating basically. And maybe there's like a requirement for how many people have to be stacking together for that to work. So something like that, I think, could be beneficial to potentially. Um, do you have any thoughts, Mike? I think everyone's sort of put their input in except you so far.
I think solo duo queues, even though they said they don't want to do it, I think that's kind of a must, like pretty soon, because that's all I do is either solo or duo. And the amount
Yeah.
of times I'm just up against like 4 stacks or 5 stacks, and it's just so annoying every time.
Mm.
I also find it kind of weird. I don't know if you guys have run into this, but like, let's say you're like me and I'm like Diamond 2, middle of the table, close to Diamond 3, and I'll queue into a game, even though I know I'm close to ranking up because I'm on like a 4 win streak or something. I'll get like a plat 2 on my team. I feel like with the amount of players there are, you shouldn't be like deviating too far outside of like your rank bracket, like diamond or whatever, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, getting Radiant solo queuing in this game is very different than if I were to queue with like, you know, a bunch of CS pros like Wardell and like all those XCS pros. Like queuing like I think Lasky did it at solo queue. I think even Wardell got Radiant solo queuing once in one of his like a trillion accounts that he got to Radiant. So that feeling though is very different, I'm sure, than 5 stacking your way to Radiant, right? Like in order to solo queue to Radiant, you would probably have to communicate a lot. But if I was just 5 stacking with pros, like I would probably not even communicate because I would just trust that they're able to hold down their positions and know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be some way that solo queuers have a chance because they literally don't. If they run into like a team like Wardell's Pugs with 5 stacks, like they stand no chance. truthfully.
All right. Well, let's go into the next segment, the final segment of today's show, which is effectively the community clips, all the stuff that you guys have been sending us. We have a few things here to show you
I'm
guys.
excited for this, guys. I'm excited to see what the community has brought forwards.
One thing actually we're going to be showing first is going to be a breakdown of a 60-second set play of, and we actually referenced this on
Yeah.
our last demo review, but I wanted us to look at it in the show as well because it's really cool. And this is basically, if I recall correctly, is like a gelato control play. Was it G2 or Fish123?
Fish123 does
It
it
was-
against G2.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we're going to check this out and it's going to show every perspective. And do we have audio from this as well, Mike?
I can turn it on.
Yeah, I think, yeah, if you can
Top side
restart the
of
clip and
gelato.
turn the audio on.
The
I think that'd
slow
be
puts
perfect.
pressure on the attackers and allows for omen.
So basically, this is from like
This
a
is
VOD.
Fish 123's,
Koichi
aka
just
Team Liquid.
figured out what every
aka
agent's
hashtag
throwing. I
TL
think he
win,
went into his own
Gelato's
custom
take,
server to show
Gelato
you guys
control.
what each person's doing
Yeah.
one by one.
So right off the bat, this is
Okay.
done off spawn to take gelato control.
It's actually insane.
You're gonna notice
what
Sage
you're
is
about to
setting up a
see.
slow pre-round, and it's gonna land on the top side of gelato.
So you can see Sage
the
and
slow puts
Spawn
pressure on
lining
the
up a
attackers
slow,
and allows for omen and
and
breach's
he's-
abilities to have more
showing you the
impact.
time.
Next, we'll look
just
at
to show,
Breach.
like, the various,
Breach is going to instantly aftershock
launch
the
it
left-hand
slow,
side of the
Omen's
choke
gonna throw a
to
flash,
prevent any
Sova's gonna
enemies
throw
from
an
jumping
arrow,
over the ledge or being behind the
Breach is gonna
boxes.
fucking peek.
And last is Omen. Omen smokes back gelato and flashes through to allow Breach and Sova to push through. Sova also throws a
So
dart,
Omen smokes,
Breach also
he
throws a flash,
flashes.
and at that point,
And
they're
And
fighting.
it's interesting because that smoke is going to encourage them to push out from it, right? And the flash comes just slightly after.
Yeah.
So
And then
what
the
we can do
arrow
actually,
comes to
because
clear out all that shit.
we have
Oh, wow.
the person who made the video narrated it, so we can actually stop talking and we can like restart the
Oh,
video with
yeah,
the
sure.
narration of the video. Yeah, I think we had some confusion there, but that's fine. That's fine. It's all good.
Gelato control. Yeah. So right off the bat, this is done off spawn to take gelato control. You're gonna notice Sage is setting up a slow pre-round and it's gonna land on the top side of gelato. The slow puts pressure on the attackers and allows for Omen and Breach's abilities to have more impact. Next, we'll look at Breach. Breach is gonna instantly aftershock the left-hand side of the choke to prevent any enemies from jumping over the ledge or being behind the boxes. And last is Omen. Omen smokes back gelato and flashes through to allow Breach and Sova to push through. Sova also throws a dart, Breach also throws a flash, and at that point, they're fighting for gelato control. And here's a rough idea of what the exec would look like.
Okay, silence over.
That's really interesting because for me, for instance, I'm never. I don't know. I think in general matchmaking, you're never going to see an execute of this like complexity, because it requires so much team coordination. That was really sick. And you also don't see like defending teams, I don't think, in your general matchmaking experience trying to gain this much match. I've never played an Ascent game where the defending team or myself defending have tried to get control of this area, which I now know is called gelato.
Yeah. No, it's really awesome to see like stuff like this coming into play. And I know like Fish123 is a team. Sliggy is the coach for anyone wondering who is in the chat. Is a team that they do focus a lot on coming up with stuff and trying to innovate and understand how to use all of the agents to synergize most effectively together. And there are some teams, and I think in this game we talked about it against G2. G2 is a team that seems to be more leveraging the individual talent that they have on the team because they have so much skill on that team. But with that said, we've got an Omen clip coming next. And I don't know if you've seen this,
man.
Paula.
This is insane.
Yeah, so this is an Omen clutch from NIP. So let's just run this one.
Okay.
This is the best pro Omen TP I've seen. He tellies right on the other side of that wall, dude. That timing was so good.
Yeah. Can you replay that again, Mike?
Yeah, I got it on loop here. They'll replay it
Okay,
after
nice,
the round
nice.
finishes.
So Paula, he throws a smoke top sight as like a bait, and then he
You-
tellies
you-
to the
yeah,
side.
I remember us discussing this at one point, Sean. To like you do the TP with two smokes up, baiting out the concept that you're probably inside the top smoke
Yeah.
when really you've gone behind them. That's a really nice
Yeah.
TP.
Oh man, they're all looking up there as well to the higher
Yeah.
smoke. That's so
Yeah.
sick.
they thought he tellied into his high smoke.
Yeah.
But I will say this is I said it, I think, when we watched this the first time, or maybe I watched this on my stream, but this is Scream's fault. Like, Scream is big time out of the picture. Like, you can watch him on the radar. He's like holding the garage flank from C Link as breach.
Yeah.
He could be holding that flank from like back B site and supporting his teammates. He also has a flash still, so which he just wasted. He had 2, I think. He wasted 1 front sight, and he still has 1 right there. He could have flashed like over the C, like high C, while his teammates tapped the bomb. But he was holding so far back that he allowed something like this to happen.
Sorry, go on, carry on.
No, go ahead.
No, TPing through gaps in Sage walls is one of the more unpredictable ways to use Omen's TP, or if you set it up the right way. Like here, it's set up really well. But again, it's like that's a one and done. Like he won't be able to do that again the exact same way unless they bait out a different sort of behavior or response from the enemies. And so you have to pick, like, you know what I mean? In that moment, he does not know. What was the NIP player's name? Hype? Did it say?
Kriya, I think his name was.
Yeah, well, he in that moment, just I don't know if the viewers are aware or not. He's making a gamble there. He does not know he's going to 100% get behind 3 people or even 1 because there might be someone on the other team. And that's absolutely not a criticism to his skill level. It's just speaking on the meta of playing Omen. Like there, he's making a gamble. He's like, man, I've done my smoke here. I've done my smoke there. He's probably seen some behavior patterns before throughout the match or has researched the team. He's like, if I TP there, I might be behind 1 or 2 people. And it's like he's weighing up the odds in his head and he goes for it. And it pays off. That's really, really good Omen play, in my opinion.
I think he got really lucky with the timing. So like the Sage wall literally goes up the second he hits teleport, right? So the other team really has like low sound at that point because the Sage wall is coming up. They also think he's telling over the Sage wall into the smoke, which further is like bait into the smoke. The Sova just started flying his drone. Literally, you can see like that was his 4th kill. The Sova. He just started flying his drone and Scream is way out of place, right? So like there's like a whole bunch of shit that went down that perfectly enabled that TP. But that doesn't change the fact that it was like an amazing play.
Yeah, like for me, I describe Omen, like I said, he's like a gambler. You have to know your odds, roughly where you're at, roughly team position, behaviors, etc. And you weigh all these things up and make a choice based around those factors. Sound, you said, is a massive deal. For instance, Sage Walls, there are positions on Ascent, for instance, if you're holding B with the Sage, you can get your Sage to ward you off B. And as you teleport into the link from the attacking side's site and the sound muffles it enough that they're probably not going to think someone snuck through that wall with a TP, or at least it gives you an opportunity, or all these types of, I call it like controlling the chaos with Omen in certain situations where there's so much going on that you have to like, you use that to mask your intentions. And that was a really good example of it.
Yeah, I like the way you put that, Owen the Gambler. I think that really describes how exciting he is also to watch, because a move like that, you don't know how, like, you don't know if he's going to hit the jackpot or not, or if he's just going to just get completely wrecked. So, but with that said, we have another clip coming up from Peak, who loves Viper, and he's got an eco ace to show us. So let's check this one out. I think this is from today. I didn't actually watch this, so I wanted to see it live on the show. Let's cue this one up. Okay,
he's cut off the site then. Yeah? He's cut off the back of B site. Oh no,
this is an eco versus a gun round as well. So starts out with a ghost.
Ooh,
wall goes up.
To get that 1-on-1. The wall goes down. Resident Sleeper. wall up. PogChamp. Wall down. Resident Sleeper.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Nice. All right.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, man, I love like good use of the wall, like trying to like put the, because that's the advantage of, they don't know when you're going to put the wall down is so huge, and like the positional changes you can make is just awesome. It's really fun.
And he gets that 1v1 on the market guy without having to worry about like anything else.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the really strong suits of the Viper wall that people forget about is that Viper controls when that wall goes up and down. So you might know your angles perfectly and be pre-aiming a spot where you think she is, but she could very well be on another side of the wall where she knows exactly where you are, and she
Yeah.
has the control of when that sight line is given. Do you know what I mean?
And
Oh, for
God
sure.
forbid you play against a Viper that actually can communicate and like be like, "Yo, Phoenix, flash through this wall." Like, holy shit! Can you imagine like a flash coming through that wall?
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
can eliminate all of the angles on the right, like right here, and then you can basically have a flash go through and run through and hard clear like another angle.
Yeah.
You can segment off the hit in certain ways that other agents just can't do.
It's really like powerful. There's spots like I was thinking about this yesterday on binds, for example, because I was playing Viper and I was on the defense in Hookah, and I was thinking it'd actually be really cool because I'm throwing my wall right now in a way where I'm like deep in Hookah and it cuts off like that box is outside of Hookah, so it goes like right behind that box and it goes all the way and cuts off shorts as well on the A site. So it's like, oh, this is cool, like defensive wall that covers both sides. I can communicate with my teammates, but there's some rounds I felt like it'd be really cool to actually like just take 3 people and just walk them behind that wall, or 2 people and walk them behind that wall, and then just drop it at a certain point. Because again, like no one can know what's behind the wall. Or as you said, Sean, you can like flash through it. Or what would be even better? Imagine this: a Sova arrow um, drops
Yeah.
behind that wall, and they shoot it and you time that for when you drop the wall, or you just try to get the vision and try to spam through the wall and they have no idea where you are. It's like there's so many like cool usages of the wall that I haven't seen people do yet. And
Yeah.
and it's got to be coming when people start team playing with it. So
Also, Paula, I'm sure as an Omen, telling into your own smokes, kind of a death trap
A
because
bit of a bit outdated at
people
this
camp
point,
inside
Sean,
the Omen
right?
smokes. No one is camping inside of a Viper smoke because no one wants
Yeah.
1 HP.
Yeah.
So I'm telling into those motherfuckers every time I see them.
Yeah.
Every time I see a Viper smoke, I'm telling into it.
Yeah.
Count it. You best be camping. I dare you to camp in them. I dare you to camp in them. I'll spray you down.
It's
Terrible.
interesting you mentioned that just before Peak's clip, we saw the NIP play. Like that B site is such a temptation for Omen players on Haven because you have so many angles from that entrance that you can TP to, and your options become exponentially increased on whether there's an Omen smoke TP into a Brim one or a Viper poison orb thing. Again, I don't know the exact name, but you know what I mean. It's like yeah, things like that with Omen, it makes you feel like you have so much to play with.
and with that said, we've got another Omen clip, which I think is very fitting to finish off the show. So it's from Nesenev, who has actually become is in chat as well, has become quite a frequent part of the show. Is actually often sending us cool clips. And this is an Omen TP. I actually didn't watch this
Final
one
clip.
either. Let's
Yeah,
see what's up.
this is really nice. I think so. You previewed it to me before. It's really cool because
Oh, you can
lots
get
of
over
people
the
know about.
wall?
Yeah, lots of people know how to get behind that wall, but I've never seen it from that angle. So this is definitely something I am going to be putting into the playbook.
Oh, wow.
That's
I
pretty
didn't know you
cool.
could get over that wall.
Well,
Twitter
I'd never
clips.
tried to TP on that first wall because
Oh,
it
I've tried that. I do that.
like
Yeah.
I'd never felt that would give me an advantage. So he plants his smoke up there, sits in it, because the smoke can sit there, and then you fall off and you get behind. That's very. It will be a one and done, but like that's a round winning play for one round in the match, in my opinion, maybe two. But eventually the people will start figuring out what you're doing. But again, that's how a lot of these Omen plays are. You have to have your deck of cards, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this one. Like, that's a sick play. It's a really smart one.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about it. I think that's been a great show. Thank you so much, Paula, for joining us. It's such a pleasure having you on. I'm sure we'll ask you back in the future.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it. It's a wrap, guys. Thanks to Mike, thanks to Sean, and thanks to Bree and everybody else that makes the show possible. And we will see you guys on Wednesday for our next VOD analysis. You can tweet #Immortal Minds and tag me, Sean, and Mike in there. And you can send us clips. You can send us stuff that you want us to go over on that Wednesday VOD review, whether it's a specific map or maybe a specific round, something you found interesting that you want our attention on. And with that said, thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.